Welcome back to Sorare Assist. Adam here, and we've got a scouting video coming up for you today, focusing on some players for the Underdog League for Game Week 264. Before all that, if you do like this video, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. For the month of April, I'm giving away a Magnemed Ozdiev rare card, 30 of 100. This competition is being run on my Twitter page, at Sorare Assist. To enter, you need to subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter, at Sorare Assist, and retweet the pinned tweet on the Sorare Assist Twitter page. At the end of the month, I'll pick a random follower on Twitter who has carried out the entry criteria, and that person will win the Magnemed Ozdiev rare card. I'll announce the winner at the end of the month on Twitter, so make sure you follow me on there. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and for more free Sorare content, please check out sorareassist.com. Also consider joining our Patreon for weekly player scouting. And if you're not signed up to Sorare yet, use the link in the description below to get a free limited card and 13 common cards. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get stuck into today's content. So like I say, today I'll be highlighting some Sorare players for the Underdog League for Game Week 264. And if you want early access to scouting videos like this before everybody else, then consider joining this YouTube channel by clicking that join button below, where you can find more details. All of these players have a perceived favourable fixture for the upcoming game week. The players look to be a regular starter and are capable of some higher scores than their last 15 suggests. I've also focused on players that are at a reasonable price, and I'll be highlighting goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders and forwards where possible. Always make sure to check the player's L15 before purchasing to make sure the L15 still qualifies for the game week in question. As always, make sure to do your own research, and none of this content is financial advice. First, let's have a look at the entry criteria for this week then. So for this week, for the Underdog Game Week 264, the Underdog rules are as follows. So all players must have an average score below 45 in their last 15 games. So without further ado, let's get stuck into the first selection then, starting with the goalkeepers. The first one I've gone for is Ali Viral of Savispor in the Turkish Super League. He's got an L5 of 48, L15 of 42 and an L40 of 44. Savispor are to home to Alanyaspor, where goalkeepers on average score 48 points. Looking at his scores, he has got some higher scores here which he is capable of getting. This being an easier home fixture, he could potentially keep a clean sheet here to get some of those all-important clean sheet points. On to defenders now, and the first one I've gone for is Nekc Skubic of Konyaspor. The 32-year-old has an L5 of 46 and an L15 of 45. He also has an L40 of 48, so we can see he is capable of better scores. And although Konyaspor are away, they are playing the bottom side in the Turkish Super League. And on average, defenders score an average of 52 points against this opposition. He's going for around £3 currently on his limited. He also has some high scores as well, as you can see here, including 9 50 to 60, 4 60 to 70 scores and 4 70 to 80 scores as well. This being an easy matchup, he could potentially get another good score here. On to the midfielders now, and the first one I've gone for is Sabah Lobjanicic of Hatayspor in the Turkish Superliga. The midfielder has an L5 of 49, L15 of 44 and an L40 of 46. They have got a fairly tough matchup against Başakşehir, but on average midfielders do score around 51 on average against this opposition. I think Başakşehir do concede quite a few goals, and this is maybe the case for the high potential average. And he is capable of some high scores as highlighted by the price graph here. He's got 10 scores within the 60 to 70 range and 4 within the 70 to 80 range. So he's more than capable of potentially grabbing a goal in this game. His limited is going for around £10. Another midfielder is Dimitris Limnios of Twente. He has an L5 of 47 and an L15 of 44. And he's at home to Sparta, who look certain to get relegated. And on average, midfielders score around 55 against this opposition. Limnios is also capable of some high scores, and this could be the game where he could potentially get a decisive action. He has 4 scores within the 60-70 range and 2 scores within the 70 to 80. His limited at the moment is going for around £13. Next midfielder is Martin Rodriguez of Altay in the Turkish Super League. An L5 of 53, L15 of 44 and an L40 of 45. And they were home to Galatasaray, who are not having the best season, and on average, midfielders score around 55 against Galatasaray. Looking at his recent scores as well, he's got some few decent scores in the 60s and 70s more recently. I think he has recently got into the team and has played more minutes as well. He has 3 scores in the 60-70 range and 2 in the 70-80 range, and quite a few of them have come more recently. His limited at the moment is going for around £8, which looks pretty cheap for me for a player who is definitely capable of getting on the score sheet and has got a decent fixture coming up as well. Iver Fossum is another midfield option. 25-year-old, plays for AB in the Danish Superliga. He has an L5 of 45, an L15 of 43 and an L40 of 52. Opposition in game week 264 is Silsborg, who midfielders generally score an average of 51 points. They are playing Midtjylland though before that game does happen, so if you're watching this video a little bit late, make sure you do check his L15 to make sure it's still within the 45 range. We can see here that he's got some really good high scores in this period here, and with a potential easier fixture at home to Silsborg, he could potentially get another one of these high scores coming up. He's certainly due one. His limited price at the moment is going for around £10. The next one that looks a really good option is Fabian Tate. He was injured quite a lot recently, but he has come back to full fitness now and is starting to get more minutes. He has an L5 of 59, an L15 of 44 and an L40 of 53, which shows his overall quality and consistency. He has got Strasbourg at the time of recording before the game week 264, so again look out for his L15. And in game week 264 is at home to Lorient, and midfielders in general score an average of 55 points against them. As you can see from his scores, he is capable of getting some really good scores on a consistent basis. He's got 6 scores in the 70-80 range and also 6 scores in the 80-90 range. He also has a good all-round score as well in general. His limited at the moment is going for around £30, but if he does play and plays the full 90 minutes, this could potentially be a £30 well spent. On to the forwards now then, and the first one I've gone for is Maximiliano Urruti of Austin in the MLS. It's an L5 of 47, L15 of 42 and an L40 of 45. Next opposition for Urruti is the Whitecaps in the American MLS. On average, forwards score an average of 57 points against this opposition, so this is looking good for Urruti in terms of getting a decent score. And if we look at his scores, he has got some decent high numbers, usually attributed to when he scores a goal. And I think there's a high chance that he could get on the score sheet in this game against the Whitecaps. At the minute, his limited card is going for £26. Another forward that's really on form at the minute is Hacı Wright of Antalyaspor in the Turkish Super League. He has an L5 of 66, an L15 of 45 and an L40 of 43. Next opposition for the USA forward is Kayserispor in the Turkish Super League. And on average, forwards score an average of 59 points against this opposition. Especially with the current keeper situation that Kayserispor find themselves in, the teams seem to keep switching their goalkeepers at the moment. Can't decide who is the first choice. And in the last match, the keeper that got the chance, Lung, actually made an error in this game. So whether he's going to play again or not, I'm not sure. We'll see what happens there, but in general, defensively, Kayserispor are fairly poor. Looking at the scores for Wright more recently, as you can see, he's really been on fire and he has been banging in the goals. So this is potentially another game where Hacı Wright could be on the score sheet, and it does look a really good pick to me. His limited at the minute is going for £32. Another potential option is Umut Nahia of Kayserispor in the Turkish Superliga. He has an L5 of 47, L15 of 44 and L40 of 38. So he does seem to be finding his form more recently. And the opposition next up for Nahia is Fatih, who forwards generally score an average of 53 points against this opposition. As you can see, as I was saying, his more recent form has been to a better standard and he has been starting to get on the score sheet a lot more recently. So could this be another game where Nahia hits the back of the net and gets that all-important decisive score? Limited card at the moment is going for £8. Another potential forward option is Sargis Adamyan of Club Bruges. He has an L5 of 48, L15 of 41 and an L40 of 40. So another one who recently started getting a few more minutes for Club Bruges. And the next opposition for them, they're at home to Antwerp. On average, forwards against this opposition score 55 points. And as you can see, he's got some decent scores more recently. His limited is going for around £20, so this is potentially one that you could take a punt on at home to Antwerp. Another good forward option is Jaroslaw Niezgoda of Portland Timbers. 27-year-old has an L5 of 47, L15 of 40 and an L40 of 38, although he only played 63% of those games. Next opposition for them is they're at home to Salt Lake, who forwards generally score an average of 52, and I believe in their last game Salt Lake got thrashed 6-0 by New York City. So this could be a chance for Niezgoda to get on the score sheet. And looking at his scores, he has got some decent numbers here, some 60s. These are generally attributed to his goals, so he will need a goal to get these higher points. His limited card at the moment is going for around £20. Thomas Gonginga is another potential option as well for Lask in the Austrian Bundesliga. L5 of 36, L15 of 45, but an L40 of 50. So he is certainly capable of better form than he has been on recently. And his next opposition is at home to Altach, and forwards generally score an average of 53 points against this opposition. Look at his score graph, he is capable of these high scores, especially in this period here. He has 3 scores in the 60-70 range, 5 scores in the 70-80 range, and 2 scores in 80-90 and 90-100 range. Looks like he is due a good score as well, based on the recent performances, and this could be his chance at home to Altach. Limited card at the moment is going for £11. And the final forward this week and the final pick is Michael de Lude of Groningen in the Netherlands division. He has an L5 of 55, an L15 of 45 and an L40 of 46. Next opposition for Groningen is Hercules, who forwards generally score an average of 51 points against them. And he is certainly capable of getting some decent scores, but does rely on getting on the back of the net or getting an assist. He has 5 scores in the 60-70 range and 2 scores in the 90-100 range. So this could be a chance for Delou to get on the score sheet at home to Hercules. And his limited price is going for £9 at the time of recording. Okay, so that is all the selections this week. So get scouting some of these players, see what positions you need for the game week 264, and you've got some potential options here to consider for your underdog team in game week 264. As I say, if you do want early access to videos like this, consider joining our YouTube membership channel by clicking that join button below, or you can also join our Patreon for weekly player scouting, and you can also get early access to these scouting videos on that channel as well. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.